Welcome to To Be Human podcast, episode 47 on burdens. So today, I want to talk about, burdens, the, burdens that we carry, the struggles of life, being burdened with different things. There's a lot of different burdens as some may be, self-imposed or like be opposed by others. Like, but burdens can range from you know, simple burdens to a lot more complex burdens, like being stuck in a situation that's, ridiculous and out of control. I wouldn't have any experience with that, but I know, Michael, my character, would be a case of that. But I mainly want to go with real life, examples. But Michael is still technically a good, show of when things absolutely go, beyond crazy, basically beyond human comprehension. But, real life burns never seem to reach those same levels. But still, it's still, like accurate, like sort of parallel to real life. That's probably why there's the story of Cepheus, forever burdened to push the boulder up and down a mountain for all eternity. Like, that's one hell of an ultimate burden. So yeah. So, Michael is very much in that same camp. But yeah, real life, the maximum burden is either, being burned to suffer forever, like, by one way or another, because at least with the burden of death, like, at least you're dead, like, even though you can never feel, anything ever again, so you can never have the good, at least, you'll never have any of the bad anymore. So despite its burden that I probably would want to avoid, it's still technically a thing that will happen to us all inevitably. So what can you do? So yeah. So I think the ultimate burden is to, suffer for your whole life. Like, that is basically the biggest one, realistically, like, for, you know, it's like torture through physical, mental, otherwise, that's the ultimate burden. But on the other hand of the spectrum, small burdens aren't too much to bear. Like a small problem here or there to solve, it's your burden until it's solved. Like, that's not too bad. But the other end of the spectrum can be quite grueling and, like, humans just, you know, will break from, endlessly suffering. You know, it's like, not, how the best phrase is, because my brain barely functions, it's, if a person is suffering, like, of course they're gonna lash out in pain and all that, and potentially do bad things. Still, they should try and have the self control to not do those things, but, like, still, life led them to that result. So, can you always exactly blame the person? Like, no one, is, inherently bad from birth. It's, gained for, like, how life treats them and probably how they're nurtured. So, like, no one's bad initially till, life is bad. So, yeah. So, yeah, they obviously then become basically, you know, a villain or someone, disliked. So, yeah. All you can do at that point is, if you can, help them, but ultimately they have to help themselves as well. So, yeah. But, yeah. Either way, burdens are forever something that's, you know, as humans we're going to have to deal with. Taking the weight of responsibility for many different things, as, that's how life goes. And hopefully we'll be up to deal with those burdens. Otherwise, it can quickly come a case where, all burdens start to pile up upon each other, and then there's no way to escape the burdens, and basically at that point, like, if there's no escape, like, like, there's very few options left. It might, yet again lead to death. Unfortunate as it is, sometimes it's all that is left at the end. So, yeah. So, yeah. But hopefully, the burdens that you'll face in your life will not be as severe as like the ones that I just described before with Michael, Siphius, and all the other stuff. Hopefully, the bones of life will be relatively simpler, but doesn't make it simple because life is often not simple, but at least it's simpler, as there's a difference between the two. So yeah, hopefully it all goes well though. Whatever burns like you may face, hopefully you can overcome those burns and like yes, go higher than you may have ever expected. And I certainly have my own burns too, but that's something for me to eventually overcome. So yeah, life is not simple, but yeah. Either way, I think that'll do it for this podcast episode. And definitely always gonna, be a constant. Concepts are forever, ideas and concepts are forever, so there's no freedom from burns. Like, as it's gonna, there's gonna be burns sooner or later, eventually. As even if things may be unburned now, it can always change. So, yeah. And even though it might not seem like a burden, it might be a burden in disguise. Because sometimes those things aren't clear till you fully realize it. But yeah, either way, burns can't be so simply beaten. It's not a problem that can suddenly be snapped away. All you can hope is that the burns in your life won't be so bad, and maybe if you're going to burn someone else with something, like, make certain it's not that drastic. Like, help them if, it was supposed to be your responsibility, then help them. Don't just, pass on your burns, like, to make someone else's life hell. Like, that's not exactly a great, like, if you need help, get help. Like, sometimes that's the easiest way to deal with sunburn. It's probably almost all burns could be solved if there was just some help to help solve the problem. So, yeah, like, it shouldn't be as much of a problem if you're getting help. And, you know, you don't have to feel guilty because, like, hopefully, that person's agreeing to help with whatever the burden will be. Because, you never want to really burden someone else with your own thing, but sometimes help's needed, so yeah, it is what it is. Like, you gotta get help sometimes. It's how things go. No shame in asking for help, but passing it upon someone, with no real reason, passing on the burden, like, now that's, not really a good thing, as that's kind of a douche move, like, it's not really cool. So yeah, but yeah, burns, I guess, constant, so what can you do in reality? As there'll always be something. So, yeah. Like, what can you do? But, yeah, I think I'll end this podcast as I think I've said what I wanted to say. And, yeah, just also help. And, yeah, it's not a problem that can simply be solved, like, overall. Like, you can't get rid of burns, but help is useful. But yeah, that'll do it for this To Be Human podcast episode. Until the next one, peace. Hello, is not the end of the video, because surprise, but it's not really a surprise if you know the podcast. I'm adding a bit, as I sometimes do, to talk about things I forgot to talk about when I initially recorded it. So here's the extra stuff. One thing is, I never really want to talk about my own burns, as like, I don't want to always be about, myself, as the To Be Human podcast is about, like, try and help others. So really don't want to, talk about my own burns, but I guess just briefly touch upon it just for the sake of it, and then I'll get on to the actual reason I'm adding this new part, is that one of the burdens that I've faced is expectations. A burden that it expectations can be a burden to anyone, but it's specifically because, yeah, again, that expectation that formed that I would be, streaming a Pixelgun 3D, constantly, and when I wasn't, people are like, where's Pixel gone? Where's Pixel gone? It's like, it's, every week I do more than just Pixel gone. So be patient. But then eventually, the event happened. The incidents, and again, I don't really need to recap it, but what started off as a normal stream of Pixel Gun 3D essentially became a nightmare, and I haven't returned to the game since, mainly because I would have to start from the absolute beginning again, and yeah, I'm not gonna elaborate. If you know, you know. It was a nightmare. I don't want to return to it. And yeah, yeah. Although one funny thing, it's my most successful stream so far of any stream. It was briefly overtaken by one of my Michael and Jimmy ones, but I checked it again and it looked like that ending one did take back place number one, but yeah. Either way, none of that matters. I just don't want to be burned with that expectation to do it anymore. I don't want to be the Pixel Gun guy, because that's, not technically what I am. It's, story stuff, which a fine parallel I thought of is Alex Bale. If you know him, he's created a lot of like conspiracy, like internet theories sort of things, like basically like game theory. Um, um, uh, very similar, but also made a lot of film stuff, and their film stuff is their main thing, but their conspiracy theories, especially their SpongeBob conspiracy theories, got them the nickname of the SpongeBob guy. So, yeah, it's just sort of funny the parallel that exists, that I'm doing, story RP stuff, it's sort of similar to films, a little bit different, more online, gaming, machinima, or, the common term for it now being RP, roleplay, but doing that machinima style video stuff for me is, parallel to them doing their film stuff as their, main thing that they're, interested in, passionate about, whatever. But yeah, but then get burdened with a certain expectation and become the guy of that one thing in a way. So he became the SpongeBob guy, and I guess I sort of became the Pixel Gun guy. I'm sure there's probably bigger Pixel Gun like channels than like, probably me, but then again, maybe not, because, like, it's a phone game initially, so I was there for once. It's released for Steam, so, like, PC was, you know, the PC, audience was sort of, like a new market. It's like a, fresh thing. So, obviously, since it's a, fresh cycle of, like, fans, like, a fresh beginning, that means, no one's, established in that area, so it's free real estate, which is fitting that I'm recording this as in Yakuza's Kiryu with, and he has his real estate thing that it is a side quest for him, although that the visuals won't really be there unless I take a screenshot for the podcast. I guess I should take one. And enemy show it now. Show them the thing. So yeah, show me in Yakuza 0. Anyway, that should be good enough. But yeah, still kind of sick also, but so yeah, so it's a new market, so obviously with it being, free real estate, I'm probably one of the first to do it, so it like so in a way I would be the like one, I guess, guy being as I call it the pixel gun guy in parody to Alex Bale, but yeah, and hi, no, welcome, but yeah, it's you know, quite a fine parallel, but also the burden with those expectations definitely it is something that I didn't want to cover in the initial episode, as I didn't want to, again, take away from the point of the podcast. But yeah, either way, I've went on a side sort of tangent, even if it's relevant, sort of, but the actual reason I'm, recording this a new part of, to add on to this podcast episode is because one thing, in life is, people can feel like burdens to others. And I was like, oh god damn, I'm stupid. Why didn't I think of that? Because even sometimes, I think like, you know, in the depths of my brain, like I don't have a job. All I'm doing is, you know, you know, like, streaming YouTube, like, until, like, the point where, I actually become, up to the level where I, get paid. It's ultimately a hobby, not a technical job. Um, like, so, like, so, until that point, it means, uh, until, um, that point, it means that, no money, because still been searching for a job for like a long time at this point. It's been probably multiple years, but it's mainly the last year that I've you know really tried more, as it was September when I did the first volunteer thing, and then eventually constantly volunteering at a place that I can't disclose. I'm not exactly certain why, but I think I understand the principle of why I can't disclose, but and also it'd be doxing me, so so one, because the job, I can't, even though it's not really anything important, but also two, it doxes me, so it works. Well, I don't want to say it to dox me, and they don't want to say it for whatever principles they're applying. I don't know, but either way, um, uh, 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 yeah, the one, I'm not even, so I can say it, but it works with that. It's charity for like animals. I guess I could probably say that. Like, like, and I don't know why. It's like, this is odd, but I guess I'll I won't say, because something personal legal reasons, something, I don't know. I can't know everything. But yeah, uh, uh, either way, yeah, either way, volunteering there for, you know, basically since the beginning of the year, so I could actually have something on my resume, so that I can hopefully get a job, but ultimately still don't have a paying job, which means the thought of, damn, I'm kind of a burden, you know, for, my family, it is something that's gonna pop into my head. And I'm certain that, other, you know, people would feel the same way, like feeling like they're burdens, not wanted by their family, friends, wanted by the world, etc., etc. But know that there are people out there that care for you and will care for you, and you're not alone. Like, even though you might feel like a burden for the whole world or something along those lines, you're not alone. So that's the really the main thing that I wanted to say. Like, I spend way too much time getting distracted up, like I usually do, is that you are not alone. You don't have to feel like a burn. Like, and I have those thoughts too, but like, you can overcome it, and like, if there's challenges, beat the challenges, smash the challenges. I don't know, like, just do it. Like, the only person that's stopping you is you. Like, you have in your head that there's no hope, there's no salvation, there's nothing in the world that can stop you from being a burden, but there is hope, there is a chance, and there are always options out there, even if they take absurdly long, like sometimes too long, and you just want to be done with it. Stick it out, because eventually those opportunities and that purpose will be found through something, and you won't feel like a burden. Like, despite as much as, I occasionally have the thought of, like, God damn, I'm a burden. Like, but then I, also think, like, my story, my, podcasts, that, like, all the videos I make, they're, potentially helping someone out there. Maybe it's only a few people. Maybe, I only make a few individuals, laugh, as, the algorithm won't, really push it around, because that's just, how YouTube works. But, yeah, I'm going to continue to make those things for the few that look at me. The few that look at me, whatever. The line is from, Believer. Pain, you made me a believer. And I guess, despite, the pain I faced, I am also a believer you know, now, like, now I'm just thinking of, like, a different song. Now I'm a believer, hey, without a trace, down my mind. Although that's a love song, and is a kind of different, but still, uh, uh, you should know what I mean. That there's always hope. There's always something, and you're not a burden, and yeah, like there is a chance, and you know, I guess one thing, you know, I realized thanks to, you know, a song called "Why I'm Alive" by Oreo, um, uh, um, uh, the music channel, which now I'm, you know, just getting up for visual thing, um, is that in that song, "Why I'm Alive," that person like feels like they're a burden, but they do realize something in like all their misery is that like if they were to well commit self die, don't want to say the actual word because YouTube sometimes is a bit particular about it. Um, is that they realize that if they were to do it, like the pain in their hearts would only pass on to the person they care about, which is like so like deep and like you know, profound when, you know, like I watched it, you know, the first time, you know, realizing like, oh God, like that's so true. Like you might absolutely like hate yourself, but the ones you love will have to deal with the loss of you when you're gone. So that, you know, pain that's currently in your heart, that, you know, burden of pain will only pass on if you were to end it before you could try and fix your own heart, which isn't always so easy because even they realize in another part of the song that like, like, that pain, like, that hurt in their hearts won't heal so easily. Like, but they have to try and overcome, that pain, despite as much as it seems like a dark ocean, like swallowing you whole. Like, some parts of it, like really, like when I was watching it, really made me think of, yeah, again, living darkness, dark presence. Bring up too much, but it's an accurate comparison that that and parallel that darkness will, try and swallow you when you're suffering. So, like, it's very, like, inescapable. So, the best you can do is try and rise above it and hope that in time, one day, it may heal. Like, that pain may never be fully gone, but hopefully you can be more content with it, that pain, more accepting, and hopefully it will consume not as much of you and won't be overwhelming, more like just like a like a small puddle rather than like a giant flood of pain and everything. So yeah, so yeah, and I definitely can think of something that, like, even after all this time I still find painful, being the two things that, as I always bring them up, Rogers and Trickster. One fictional, one real. Two, I guess, sort of friends gone. Like, one being like, I guess, grander overall concept and, string of characters and ideas and all that with Rogers versus, something more real with Tricky Sir. Really, it's a perfect balance of the two. And yeah, again, the two were basically at the same time, as it was June when I learnt about Trickyster's death, and I didn't want to believe it at first, but eventually realization hits you eventually. And it was also June for Rogers where the last thing was recorded, the last adventure. And yeah, again, at first, the realization that it was over didn't hit me initially, but then, the realization hits you. So those two things being in the same month means the realizations were basically probably practically like at the same time. So it was like a double whammy. And yeah, again, create, I guess, current me. The old me, like, was essentially dead from that day. Well, not fully dead, but, it's really be the beginning of the, like, growth of, like, my maturity, because essentially, like, at that point I was basically like almost a kid in a, 18-year-old, like 19-year-old past, July, 19-year-old body, like because I hadn't really dealt with proper life yet, really, like hadn't really had those serious experiences, but other than my cat dying back in 2019, but other than that, it hadn't really fully set in, like, the motion of me becoming more mature as a person, like learning, the world is a lot, darker than it, seems like initially, like, and, there's so many complexities to life. So, no wonder things are so, like, screwed for the world, like, there's no perfect solutions. And even if you do come up with solutions, somehow it will seem to inevitably create problems sooner or later, even if, what you did was for good intentions, that be somehow some problem created from the solution. So, yeah, like, the world is just messed up. But, it doesn't mean there isn't good, and, like, doesn't mean that there's, no hope. Like, but, for me, those two things was the beginning of me seeing, the bigger picture that there's, always the two halves, light and dark, and soon enough seeing, what they really are, and not just, stereotypes like darkness bad, light good, you know, because that over over generalization can do some harm, as things are often more complex than what the surface shows. So overgeneralizations and, stereotypes are harmful. Who would have guessed it? Stereotypes aren't, great. Like, like in like real life, they can be used to some effect within, mediums of storytelling, but they have to be used right for mediums of storytelling, but that's, not what this, podcast episode is about. It, it's about burdens, which are, guess I'm on a sort of a tangent, but a relevant one at least. But anyway, either way, things are often, not as simple as the generalized view of things, whatever it may be. So, yeah, like, that there is often more complexity that gets overlooked, and if you actually try and, learn, be a critical thinker, like, try and see, both perspectives, you'll actually be able to be more informed in making an actual good decision. But then again, even good decisions somehow become bad because the world's messed up. But at least, like, if you're doing the right thing, like, and, doing a good thorough job at trying, you shouldn't be, at fault for, when that, good thing goes bad, because you tried, you had it, all laid out. It's probably, succeed at first, but sometimes, the world really just likes to say F you and destroy it. So, yeah, like, even the greatest shall, one day fall, like, and be as eventually forgotten by the annals of time. So, yeah, like nothing is forever. But yeah, either way, there's so much to the world. It's so complex. So yeah, like it's more than just black and white. It's grey, and even the colors in between. The rainbow. Like like that. There's so many different elements. You know, to things. It's probably why I call my series thing the living elements, as it's sort of a representation of like how I see things, but taking it to a grander context, being the multiverse, which in reality all we can do is theorize about it, but I believe that it's there, and the barrier between is, I guess, the one and ultimate hurdle to break, but is it something that should be broken? Because probably once it's broken, it probably won't be able to be put back in place so easily. So it's really a, pros versus cons sort of situation for if the barrier between gets broken down. But either way, I'm getting slightly distracted. But yeah, the world is complex. So yeah, so like, but the world being so complex, no wonder it can feel like there's a million burns, and that we can feel like we're burns ourselves, but there is hope, and you're not alone. So yeah, but I think that'll do it for this add-on to the podcast. I have no idea how long it's going to be in total now, but I bet it's going to probably reach over an hour now. Let me check the original length of it's going to be over now. But it's worth it. So as long as I can hopefully do some good with it, and it allows for again things I didn't discuss before again. So yeah, in the end, I think it's worth it. But nonetheless, I will conclude, especially since it probably annoy people who don't understand what I'm doing, like well, why aren't you just doing Yakuza? I'm like, I'll get to it in a second, you know. Be patient. It's something I've continued to say, you know. Be patient. Such a lack of patience these days. That's why, you know, I did an episode on it because I was like, you know, sometimes you just gotta chill and wait. But for those that wait, they will be rewarded, not just with, you know, getting Yakuza, but also if they actually listen, hopefully the knowledge and, you know, my own experiences can, you know, passing it on can help somehow. So yeah, but either way, I will conclude. So thanks for watching this podcast episode. Until the next one, peace and yeah, a lot to burns and there's a lot of burns that can be had, but yeah. Either way, peace and thank you.